Good morning, students. Today, in this video, we are going to do the poem The Cold Within. And this poem is written by James Patrick Kinney. Now let's see the objectives first. So by the end of the poem, you will be able to understand the meanings of difficult words as used in the context of the poem. You will be able to explain 1 till 4 stanzas in your own words, and you will be able to identify and understand literary devices used in this poem. Now students, open your treasure trove textbooks, a collection of ICSE poems and short stories at page number 11. Now students, The Cold Within is a simple and straightforward poem. It is a poem which teaches us to give up all our prejudices. So, the message of the poem is, if we do not give up our prejudices, we are sure to hurt ourselves and others equally. Now students, we will do the stanza-wise explanation. So let's read stanza number 1. 6 humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. Now students, note down the meanings. Trapped means caught in a difficult situation. Happenstance means by chance. Stick of wood means a log of wood. Now students, here the poem begins with the narrator telling us about 6 humans who were trapped by chance in a bleak and bitter cold. That is, bitter cold weather. An important feature of the first stanza is the use of the term humans. He uses humans and not people so as to refer to all human beings. And each man here possessed a stick of wood. Now students, this wood isn't merely a physical object but is symbolic of human sins which the 6 humans were suffering from. It was their willingness to use the stick of wood for the sake of others that would keep the fire burning. And here students, the words or the stories told imply that the speaker has heard it from somewhere else, which makes this poem a parable. Now students, what is parable? It is a short story that illustrates a religious principle. Now students, let's note down the literary devices of this stanza. Students, 6 humans here represent symbolism. Now what is symbolism? It is a literary device that uses symbols, be they words, people, marks, locations, or abstract ideas to represent something beyond the literal meaning. 6 humans represent entire human race which is divided on the basis of caste, color, class, religion, etc. Now next figure of speech is alliteration in the line in bleak and bitter cold. What is alliteration? It is a close repetition of consonant sounds in a single line of a poem. Now students, what is a consonant sound that is repeated here? It is B. So circle the B of bleak and B of bitter. So here the figure of speech is alliteration. Students, this stanza depicts an environmental imagery also. Students, what is environment imagery? Actually, imagery is language used by poets, novelists, and other writers to create images in the mind of the readers. And environment imagery, it shows us the environment in which all the 6 humans were trapped. Next is, stick of wood is symbolized here. As the stick of wood in each man's hands, it symbolizes hatred, envy, greed, revenge, spite, and intolerance. Now students, let's read the explanation of stanza 1. The poem opens on a dramatic note. It attracts our attention at once by peculiar use of diction, and peculiar means strange. And diction means the choice or the use of words in speech or writing. The poet says that 6 humans get trapped by chance in a very bitter cold. He uses humans and not people so as to refer to all human beings. The line, 6 humans trapped by happenstance, is to be read carefully. Though the 6 persons were together in a situation which seems to have been arranged, even though it was accidental. That is why the poet has used the word happenstance, an event that is arranged. The 6 persons were thus in a situation from which there was no escape. They were sitting near the fire, which was fast dying. Each of them had a stick of wood. This is how it is told in the story. We later realize that the stick in each hand is the symbol of sin. Now students, coming to stanza number 2. Let's read. Their dying fire in need of logs, but the first one held hers back. 4 of the faces round the fire. She noticed one was black. Now students, please note down the meanings. Logs again means thick pieces of wood. Held hers back means did not give up. And black means non-white or African American. Now students, it was extremely cold and the fire was keeping them warm. It was dying and it was in the need of firewood. It could be kept lighted only if one of the 6 persons had put his log to use. However, the first person did not put her log into the fire because she noticed that one of the faces round the fire was black. This shows that the first person, that is, white woman, was suffering from racial discrimination. Moreover, the white woman here is a bigot, which means an intolerant and prejudiced person. Now students, overall, this stanza depicts that the white woman is suffering from racial discrimination. Students, let's see the literary devices of this stanza. So here, dying fire is a metaphor. What is metaphor? It is a figure of speech which is used to compare 2 or more things without using the words as or like. Now here, fire has been compared to the fire of compassion. The another literary device used in this stanza is alliteration. In the line, 4 of the faces round the fire. Now students, what is alliteration? As I have already told you, it is a repetition of consonant sounds. And which consonant sound is repeated here? It is F. Okay, so circle the consonants F of 4, F of faces and F of fire. Let's read the explanation of stanza 2. The fire which was dying needed to be fed with logs of wood. The first of the group was the woman who was not ready to renounce her stick of wood to keep the fire burning because she had noticed that one of them was a black. She did not want to save the black. Thus, she acted out of her racial prejudice. Let's come to stanza number 3. The next man, looking across the way, saw one knot of his church and could not bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. Now, here cross means across. Knot of his church means person of different religion. Bring means allow, and birch, it is a type of tree. Now students, here the next man, he looked round and saw that one person in the group did not belong to his church, which means the other person did not belong to his religion or his religious community. So this fact stopped him from using his stick in the fire. From the phrase stick of birch, we come to know that the stick which each one was holding, it was a stick of the birch tree. Let's see the literary devices of this stanza. Students, here church is a metonymy. What is metonymy? It is a word or phrase used to mean something closely associated with it. Here, the poet has used the word church instead of using religion. So, church is metonymy. Church represents the religious faith. The second man saw that a man present there was not sharing his beliefs. In Christianity too, there are many divisions. Some are Catholic, some are Protestant. In India, people discriminate on the basis of caste, creed, etc. But in the West, the people discriminate on the particular Christianity one follows. Let's read the explanation of this stanza. The next one found in the group was a person not belonging to his religion. He could not persuade himself to give up his stick of wood to help a person of another religion. He suffered from intolerance. Let's read stanza number 4. The third one sat in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? Note down the meaning, students. Tattered means torn. Hitch means pull up or fasten tightly. Log again means stick of wood. And idle means lazy. Now students, here the third person was a poor man wearing torn and tattered clothes. To protect himself from freezing cold, he gave his coat a hitch. That means he pulled up or fastened his coat tightly. It also shows that the third man was so poor that he could not afford the coat of his size. He thought to himself why he should put his log of wood to warm the idle rich man. Students, the poor people believe that rich people make their workers toil and enjoy the fruits of their labor, and the rich remain idle. So, this man did not put his log to the dying fire. Here, students, this stanza depicts that the third man was suffering from class discrimination. Let's see the literary devices. Here, he gave his coat a hitch. It symbolizes jealousy, arrogance, and tightness of the poor man. Now let's read the explanation of this stanza. The third man was very poor. He was in tattered clothes. He was full of bitterness and envy for the rich. He gave his coat a hitch, which is suggestive of his tightness. He thought it would be unjust to give what little he had to help others who had more than he. So he held his stick back. Students, so this brings us to the end of today's session. I hope you have understood till this. Now students, you have to do the homework given in your SNAP homework. Thank you.